October 25th, 2020. My name is Thomas Wigan. I still want to talk to you about why you should ask people, or if you want to go over to their house. Number one, keep this in your mind. If you're a Christian, understand Matthew 7:12. Do to others as you want others to do to you, says the law of the prophets. This is a cross-reference to respect. Treat others how you want to be treated. I'm big on respect. And now, number one, if your family or a friend or a really close friend, still ask. Ask if you want to come over. And if they say no, well, respect that. Number two, who you do not want to show up unannounced. Number three, if you're a friend of the opposite gender, like let's say you have a crush on someone that's a guy friend, and it's a girl that's crushing on that guy friend, and then she came over to the house, then I definitely see that creepy. Because, in my opinion, that's chasing guys. And that's awesome. And that's scary. Girls almost do this. Guys are not just people stalking, but girls do stalking too. Because stalking is illegal. Oh, it's not just as to disrespect to your friends. If you go over to their house, it's not just disrespectful to your family members. If they come over to your house, it's disrespectful to you. If you go over to their house without an invitation or asking them for permission, because that's illegal. If you go over to people's houses, likely chance you will be arrested for trespassing. So, I will recommend this. Do not go over to people's houses unless you're allowed to. Ask permission before going over to people's houses. Wait for an invitation for people to invite you to their houses. Unless you're dropping off mail, or anything that's part of your job, such as emergency services. Yeah, you'd be allowed to go over their houses. But it's part of the job. Don't ever go to people's houses without asking your friend or family member. Now, I understand we want to keep our relationships, but we need to consider people being busy and know that. And once they say no, just respect that. Personally, this one is a real good example, but it's still a sin in the Bible. Selfishness. Because if you go over to people's houses, selfishness, well, that's still a sin. Because you're being selfish and you're not respecting their time. You're not respecting their time, you're not respecting your time. It's disrespect to you, mostly. Because it's hurting yourself. And you're gonna lose those relationships. And it's gonna be really hard to maintain those relationships. If you have a friend that's going over to your house, even if you've gone over to a friend's house, well, they didn't ask you permission to go over to their house and you went over to a friend's house, I think that's a good lesson to learn. It teaches, it serves you properly. It gives you a proper setting of how you feel if you go over to someone's house without permission. They should be able, they hold the right to teach. You should be given that kind of lesson too, because that way you can understand this. How you like it if I go over to your house without asking you? So you should understand that they might go through the same thing. If I go over to a friend's house without asking them, someone is going to do the same thing to you. And it's not going to be a pretty sight. Right? Because that's still going to hurt you. Ultimately, it's going to hurt your relationships. Unless they ask you. And also when they need shelter. So please read Matthew 7 and love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you love your neighbor, please respect them. Please respect their wishes. If they don't want you to come over to their house without asking them, please just acknowledge that. And thank you. Thank you. Please like, rate, comment, subscribe.